some regionals where we're stacking up the wins and attacking the other players. I tried really hard on that one, but I didn't deliver it quite as well as Len did behind the scenes here.
You know, that behind the scenes pun planning is the most important part of every stream.
It's the best part of every stream here. But round 6 here with Alex Faust versus Nate Munroe. Both these players are at 4-1 right now, so still got a decent chance here at top cut. And Alex, former Southern California player, moved to Seattle, has had a couple like really good seasons. I know he's won a couple PCs back when he was playing in Southern California. I haven't really kept up with his record back in Seattle now. And yeah, and I don't actually know Nate very well.
Well, both players doing very well today. 4-1. We only have a couple of undefeated players left, and so they will be looking to get a couple more wins and move on to that cut. Every X&1 player will be moving on to the top 8, and a good portion of the X&2s will be too.
So crossing their fingers now at this point, because one of these players will be definitely going into that, and the other one will gonna have a little bit more of a battle on their side. But some pretty interesting teams. I have heard whispers of what Nate's been running today. I've been told he's been running low punny. I'm not quite sure how accurate that is.
It would be great to see.
It would be super great to see, and it'll be really fun. And I don't know, like, I'm kind of excited to see what these guys might bring. Probably no stack attackers. Just gonna move him over.
He's a big guy.
He is, but I'm kind of excited just to kind of see what these players are going to bring, especially, when you're going 4-1 to see, it's like, what has brought you this far? So
yeah, we've seen a really good variety so far today. I'm excited to see if it continues to expand. And oh, wow.
All right. Well, okay. So on the left side, you've got Alex with the Tapu Koko Venusaur, Celesteela, Tapu Fini, Landorus, and Charizard. And on your right with Nate, you've got Togekiss, Tapu Bulu, Lopunny, Naganadel, and Blacephalon, and Azumarill.
Yeah, that team on the right by Nate, lots of individually pretty uncommon Pokemon. That Naganadel and Lopunny and Blacephalon, all pretty uncommon. Even Togekiss now is not something we see very often. But that combination together is actually 6 Pokemon we've seen a couple times before, I think, with that. If it's a Scarf Blacephalon, looking to, open things up to sweep with that Azumarill, rather, from the back. Yeah, going to be blowing his mind. And then we see the kind of uncommon in this format, Charizard and Venusaur combination. We're looking to take advantage of the weather. Could be pretty useful against this team on Nate's side. You do have to worry a little bit about giving a sun boost to that Mind Blown, though.
Yeah, and I think just kind of like figuring out, especially like when you're running Pokemon like that who individually you kind of know what they do, but in a team like this, a little unsure, kind of seeing what are they going to do to me and how do I protect myself against that when I'm not quite 100% sure on there. But both players locking in, so we're going to be going right into this game 1. Really hoping for some fun, for some fun strategies over on Nate's side, especially with all those really unique Pokemon happening right there. And we will be seeing these leads now. Excuse me. And Nate going to be leading with this Lopunny and Naganadel. I'm still on the fence about that one. I'm sorry. And then Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini, actually, from Alex's side of the field.
Yeah, the kind of uncommon double Tapu lead here. The Electric Surge is coming out first, and then the Misty Train from his own Tapu Fini going to counteract it. Naganadel's got to love this field position. In against 2 Tapu is going to be getting big sludge bombs off, fake out support from Lopunny. This seems like a pretty strong position for Nate right off the bat.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Like, especially like that, like you said, that double Tapu lead. Always a super interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these even threaten all that much damage back to Naganadel either. Going to be pretty clear running for it until something changes on the field.
All right, and so no Mega Evolution for this Lopunny as it goes for a fake out into that Tapu Fini spot. And Tapu Koko going for a Volt Switch into that Naganadel and going back to Alex, allowing him to choose whatever Pokemon he has in the back that he wants to bring out into this field. Probably giving himself a little bit of a better position. He does go for that Venusaur, so if there's a possibility of that Sludge Bomb, not going to be doing as much on there. And the Sludge Bomb from Naganadel does go into that Koko slot. Gets it to just a little bit above half still on here.
Yeah, still pretty valuable damage. That Volt Switch, even though without the Electric Train and Resist, it doesn't do too much. It does break a Focus Sash if it would have been there, so it could still be pretty valuable damage. Venusaur comes on the field, not actually resisting Sludge Bomb, so not the best thing to take it, and still not threatening that much damage to either of these Pokemon, but at least you don't have 2 fairies in again
for that Sludge
anymore,
Bomb.
so
All right,
that's step 1.
And that Landorus is going to be switching into that Tapu Fini spot, going to get Intimidate into both of the Pokemon on Nate's side of the field. Again, not quite sure how it's going to work against that Naganado, but we did see that Sludge Bomb. But now we get the Mega Lopunny on Nate's side of the field. Going to get, I think, that Scrappy ability when it Mega Evolves.
Yeah, definitely.
But going to be able to get some damage onto these Pokemon here. And Venusaur actually going to be the Mega Evolution on Alex's side of the field. And it's going to be a little bit harder to go after here. And we will be getting this return from Lopunny onto this Landorus, I want to say. Yeah, so Landorus gets it to almost half on the hair as Naganeo follows up with a Sludge Bomb into that Landorus spot, so doubling down onto it. Not quite really getting it into the red as Leaf Seed finishes off this turn into that Naganeo spot.
Yeah, I think that combination of return and Sludge Bomb would have been the KO against Tapu Fini pretty easily. Instead, it's only like 70% to this Landorus switching in, but that's still really valuable damage. You've nearly KO'd that Landorus. If it isn't a Choice Scarf variant, it's going to be slower than Lopunny and easy to take down with another return based on what we saw that last one do, freeing Naganadel to do whatever it would like to Venusaur. But Venusaur has started to kind of set up the field position it likes, getting that Leech Seed down, starting to heal back up.
Right, and Naganadel actually going to be withdrawing, and we got Tapu Bulu coming out onto this onto the field here with the grassy terrain, going to be giving a little bit of HP return and boosting those grass type attacks as Earth Power goes into that Tapu Bulu slot that was a Naganadel spot, and return from Lopunny once more into that Landorus, going to pick up the knockout on this turn. This Venusaur is going to be free to kind of go for whichever Pokemon, going for the Leech Seed now into Lopunny's spot. Going to get an HP return from the grassy terrain and from the Lopunny.
Yeah, Venusaur is starting to be very healthy very quickly. Landorus, right before going down, does reveal it's a special Landorus, not that one normal physical Landorus, so that Earth Power does a lot more to Tapu Bulu than it otherwise would have, because, you know, Earthquake would have been weakened by that grassy terrain, but still Tapu Bulu getting the grassy terrain back doesn't mind the damage at all. Lopunny also really healthy still, so pretty much the biggest thing that's happened so far is Landorus is gone. Yeah. Intimidate is gone. Both of these two Pokemon in right now for native physical attackers, and there's no option to intimidate them anymore.
Well, now there's no more healing at the end of this turn because that Tapu Koko on Alex's side comes back and gets that electric terrain set up once more.
Yeah, lots of different terrains coming out so far. This is actually the first time we've seen electric terrain going into a turn. Last time Tapu Koko was on the field, it ended up being Misty Terrain. Grassy terrain barely lasted any time. It could be interesting to see how the rest of this game goes, how much the terrain war can end up factoring into it. Tapu Bulu is looking to be very valuable here. Needs to get away from any Venusaur Sludge Bombs, so if it can, does really well against Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini.
Oh, and Lopunny's showing that on course. They're going to lock this Venusaur into Leech Seed as we have, I think, is that... Oh, Gigavolt Havoc from that Tapu Koko on Alex's side, boosted by Terrain too, is going to do a lot of damage to whatever Pokemon he targets down.
Yeah, I would expect that's KOing the Lopunny, or maybe just looking for really big damage against the Venusaur, or rather the Tapu Bulu, if you were just expecting your Venusaur to get Encore and not get a chance to get a Sludge Bomb off.
Yeah, and it does go into that Lopunny slot. Again, boosted by Terrain. It is going to be an easy knockout here. So going to lose that Mega. No more Encores from this Lopunny as Nate is now down one Pokemon as well. But Tapu Bulu's Horn Leech going to be connecting into that Tapu Koko slot. Does a lot of damage on there and gives the Tapu Bulu back. It wasn't missing that much HP, but does get it back to full after that. And Venusaur, again, being locked into Leech Seed, goes after the Tapu Bulu. Doesn't affect it because of that grass typing.
Yeah, and so now with Naganadel coming back onto the field, Tapu Koko can't be too happy about its position, not really threatening damage against either of these Pokemon. Venusaur doesn't really like where it is, Encored into Leech Seed, can try to get it down into Naganadel, but it's not quick progress because it's a Pokemon that's fairly frail. You'd much rather just be going for damaging attacks against it. Probably means that Tapu Fini needs to come back in at some point, but obviously it also is a terrible matchup against both these Pokemon.
All right, and so Tapu Koko going to be protecting himself on this turn as Nate now reveals his own Z move, and is that a dragon? I think that's a Dragon Z move from that Naganadel. Going to be going into that Venusaur slot, and I think that was like the first time I've actually seen Devastating Drake ever.
Yeah, not seen very often. Most Pokemon want like a Z move can be used super effectively. Also with Misty Terrain weakening it, sometimes doesn't get the most effect out of your Z move. Here, it doesn't even KO that Venusaur.
Venusaur is going to be thick, but that Leech Seed, now that Encore goes into the Naganadel, is going to be able to get back that health from there as that Tapu Koko's Protect keeps it from getting Horn Leeched once more.
Yeah, if Tapu Fini had come in that turn, that would have really made that Devastating Drake impotent, but instead Venusaur still takes a good chunk, manages to hang on, gets that other Leech Seed that's Encored into off, and starts whittling down that Naganadal. Still expect that Tapu Fini needs to come in at some point, but maybe there's an opportunity for Tapu Koko to aim for a KO against Naganadal here if it has something like a hidden power. Pretty unlikely, though.
Yeah, and then both trainers have already burned their Z move on this, but Tapu Koko is going to be switching out. So like you said, this Tapu Fini needs to come in at some point, and this is the moment that Alex is choosing to do so, overriding his Tapu Koko's own electric terrain for that misty terrain. And Tapu Bulu, still not going to have access to terrain, but still has a lot of like offensive pressure. As Sludge Bomb goes to that Venusaur, picks up the knockout on this turn, giving that Naganadal a beast boost into most likely that speed special attack, actually, as Tapu Bulu goes for the Wood Hammer into that Tapu Fini spot. Gonna easily pick up that knockout on here with that super effective damage. Does take a little bit of recoil damage, but now Alex only has this Tapu Koko left against all like 3 of Nate's Pokemon.
Yeah, that's not the slot I expected Tapu Fini to come into. It ends up walking into both Venusaur getting KO'd while still having to Leech Seed that turn because it was still Encored, and Tapu Fini coming right into the Wood Hammer, not the Horn Leech anymore, and also getting KO'd and just pretty much ending this game. Alex is not going to be able to come back from there. He's going to be having to look at games 2 and 3 and figure out what he can do differently.
I mean, that's hard when you're running, 2 fairies from the get-go and against a Pokemon that likes to use Sludge Bomb. But Alex still going for it with that Thunderbolt into the Naganadal. Not quite enough to pick up that knockout on here as it uses that Sludge Bomb. Does have that boost on there and easily picks up the knockout on here. And like you said, gives that game to Nate, and Alex going to have to reconsider his strategy on here.
Yeah, definitely has to be weary of getting himself to that position with 2 Tapus in against that Naganadal. There's definitely options there. Problem is there's so many options also on Nate's side. There's definitely no promises that you see anything close to the mode you just saw. We didn't see the Blacephalon. We didn't see the Togekiss. We didn't see the Azumarill. There's so many other options for quick offense. And if you start worrying too much about not walking into letting Naganadal do everything it wants, then you may just end up ready to get mind blown or ready to get a belly drum and Aqua Jets everywhere. So
yeah, and I think that's kind of tough because now if you're thinking you're Alex and you're going to switch, if you bring that Celesteela and if Nate can kind of predict that, he can bring in that Blacephalon and like take care of that really easily. And I think Celesteela is kind of that best option against that Sludge Bomb. But when you have Pokemon on Nate's side that can support that, how do you really do it? But they locked in way quick on that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one thing that could be really important is Landorus went down very quickly, did very little, but could have been so valuable against a lot of the things Nate was using. I think Alex is going to need to preserve that Landorus more and get better use out of it.
Especially if it's a special Landorus without like that Earthquake against that Tapu Bulu. It's a really kind of advantageous for him.
Because it may have Sludge Bomb also.
Yeah, and so Togekiss and Azumarill, so Nate going for a little bit of a change here as we get these 2 Pokemon on the field. So double fairies now on that side as Celesteela and Venusaur on Alex's side of the field. So a little bit of change from both players.
Yeah, changes all around, but changes I think work very much in Alex's favor here. Both these Pokemon are happy to be in against Azumarill. Celesteela doesn't mind Togekiss at all. You can double target to either slot, either with Sludge Bomb, Heavy Slam on Togekiss should be a KO, or the same combination against Azumarill. Maybe not the KO if it has that Citrus Berry, but it's still very close.
It's almost like a reversal of like what game 1 happened, but we do have this Venusaur Mega evolving on Alex's side of the field. Might see some more Leech Seeds from here, but Azumarill going to protect itself on this turn. Not going to want to take any sort of Heavy Slam or like Sludge Bomb from that Venusaur as Togekiss goes for a Tailwind, giving Nate a little bit of speed control for the next couple of turns. Going to make him a little bit faster on the field. Venusaur does go for the Sludge Bomb into that protected slot, and Celesteela going to be going for the Heavy Slam into that Togekiss slot.
Yeah, that should be pretty good damage here.
Oh, almost. Oh, but does activate the berry, and so Togekiss is going to be recovering a lot of that health back from that Heavy Slam. Ooh.
Yeah, just barely over the 75% required there to consume the berry, meaning Togekiss is probably just under 75% health now, but that probably means the next Heavy Slam should KO Togekiss if nothing comes in to weaken that, or Togekiss doesn't switch out and doesn't just follow Mies.
Yeah, so we're going to be drawing the attention from both of these Pokemon into itself, and Azumarill being free to use Belly Drum are going to be faster because of that Tailwind, and it's going to maximize its attack, and with that huge power, with that potential for huge power, it's a little bit scary. Does manage to get its health back as well because of that Citrus Berry and eating it up. And now both these Pokemon are going to have to go after this Togekiss. The Sludge Bomb going to be going into there. Does super effective damage, just gets it into the red though, and Heavy Slam is going to finish off this Togekiss, but that Azumarill is now at max attack.
Yeah, you've kind of blown through the defenses for that Azumarill by getting Togekiss off the field, but Azumarill is still there at max attack under Tailwind, such a huge threat. And it's going to have some other partner coming in to help it. If that's the Lopunny to provide Fake Out and Encore support, things start to look very troublesome for Alex very quickly.
And that low bunny is going to be coming on there. Like you said, bringing in that fake out support potentially for either of these Pokemon. We do get that attack boost from Celesteela once more. So, possibly might be able to pick out some knockouts on whatever Pokemon it might target down.
Yeah, I think that Tailwind could end up being helpful for Azumarill to deal with his Venusaur if it has some kind of coverage move that lets it, but maybe unlikely.
And Lopunny going to go for that Mega Evolution. Going to choose whichever Pokemon it wants to kind of fake out, keep that Pokemon from doing any sort of damage on this turn. Venusaur actually protecting itself, so any sort of any sort of attack from Azumarill not going to go for it. Actually goes for a double protect. On this turn, kind of fish out what Nate's plan exactly is, burns that fake out from that onto that Celesteela slot as Azumarill goes for the Aqua Jet also into that Celesteela.
Yeah, the problem with burning the Lopunny fake out is that it's free to just encore that protect on the next turn. It's the thing that makes those fake outs so much more potent, makes them have so much more sticking power, because now Azumarill is free to target down Celesteela, while Lopunny can just encore Venusaur. It's Mega, means there's no Z move you have to worry about. That's an encore that really will just land, and so Venusaur is either switched or forced to just stay on the field protecting while Azumarill goes after the other slot. The problem is that Aqua Jet, even at +6, may not be enough to KO Celesteela. Probably not enough to KO Celesteela, and at +1 attack, that Heavy Slam may just come back and KO Azumarill.
All right, and Venusaur going to be switched out, doesn't want to get encored to that protect like you mentioned, and Tapu Fini is going to hit the field, bringing with it that Misty Terrain, and a little bit more staying power, I think, against sort of that Aqua Jet combination. And we will have this Misty Seed activating, a really popular item that we've been seeing with the Celesteelas on the field here. But the Encore goes into the Celesteela slot. Will be locking it into that protect, and as Azumarill goes for the return into what was the Venusaur, is now going to be that Tapu Fini, is going to be easily picking up that knockout on here. So the kind of a hard switch for there, and Celesteela going for that protect. His last just.
Yeah, revealing the return that lets it really take advantage of that Tailwind that is now expiring, but gave it a chance to outspeed and KO the Venusaur. Meant that it was comfortable attacking the Venusaur and instead encoring the Celesteela, which is not what Alex expected, and so he got himself, he made the switch to get out of Encore and got encored anyway, so wasted this attack from both slots that turn and just gave Azumarill a free KO.
And that Landorus is going to knock down the Azumarill just a little bit, gets it down to a -1 attack stage, but
no way a Landorus can take Aqua Jet, even at +5, and Celesteela is still encored into Protect, so Celesteela's going to need to switch, Landorus is going to need to switch or Protect. Alex very much on the back foot here. He's going to take a few turns to pivot into any sort of situation where he can get damage off.
Yeah, and so Celesteela going to be switching out, losing that Misty Seed defense, but does get the Venusaur in, as Azumarill goes for that Aqua Jet into that Venusaur slot at +5. It does not do a lot of damage because it's not effective, but Sludge Bomb from Landorus into the Azumarill spot, not enough to pick up that knockout, but it has already eaten its berry, and return from that Lopunny into that Landorus spot gets it to a little bit over half still.
Yeah, so I think several things revealed there. Landorus probably has a choice scarf then if it was able to outspeed that Lopunny before it got returned. And then Azumarill may be getting a little ahead of itself, expected Landorus to protect or switch to get away from that Aqua Jet, and so went for the Aqua Jet onto the Celesteela slot. Instead allows Landorus to get that Sludge Bomb off. Luckily for Nate, Azumarill manages to take that Sludge Bomb, doesn't get poisoned, so it's still going to have a chance to Aqua Jet now towards that Landorus slot. If you do think its choice scarf has no chance to protect, you're either hitting the Celesteela or the Landorus.
All right, and Lopunny going back to Nate as he sends out that Naganadel once more. I think this is the last Pokemon on his side of the field that we hadn't seen quite yet. And the Azumarill going for the Protect, so not going to take another Sludge Bomb from this Landorus as it goes into that Sludge Bomb into that protected slot. And Venusaur going to be using Giga Drain actually into that protected Azumarill spot, so kind of a free switch in now.
Yeah, Alex is saying he just needed to make sure that Azumarill went down this turn, targeting with both Pokemon, so that wherever those attacks from Nate's side went, he was going to be able to get that KO, but Azumarill protects itself. There for the next turn, and now you have Naganadel offering another big offensive threat and another turn where that fake out followed by Encore is going to have pressure later in the game when that Lopunny comes back onto the field. Could be really valuable if Nate manages to make that happen before Azumarill goes down.
All right, well, so Landorus actually managed to go first, gets that Sludge Bomb into the Azumarill and knocks it out. So this biggest threat on the field is going to be gone as Nasty Plot from Naganadel raises its special attack, makes it an even scarier Pokemon than before, getting that, but Giga Drain from Venusaur going into that does literally almost no damage on there. Gets a little bit of HP back, still already in the green. And now we have this Lopunny back on the field with that fake out pressure.
Yeah, Nate just really continuing to expect Alex to switch out that Landorus, do something to keep that Landorus around, and he doesn't. And so instead that Sludge Bomb just lands on Azumarill, and Azumarill goes down without getting another attack off. Really a lost opportunity there to just KO Landorus, even if you would have given up the trade and losing Azumarill anyway. Naganadel does get that Nasty Plot off. Neither Venusaur or Landorus, as we know, Choice Scarf locked into that Sludge Bomb, is offering any sort of damage threat against this Naganadel, but if Landorus can just switch out, come back in, then it's outspeeding and KOing with Earth Power.
All right, and so Landorus is going to be switching out for that Celesteela. It had already consumed its Misty Suit, so it does not get that boost here. But in a little bit more comfortable position to kind of take attacks as Protect from Venusaur, make sure it doesn't get hit by any sort of attack on this turn. And Low Bunny going for the fake out into that protected slot. And Naganadel going to be attacking. Oh, no, it's going to be using Nasty Splat. So another Nasty Splat is, I think, +4 special attack now.
Yeah, +4 special attack. Going to be putting out so much damage. Going to be a threat to even that really especially bulky Venusaur. But if it doesn't have the right coverage move, we've seen Nasty Plot. Some Dragon move that was enough to create Devastating Drake. Sludge Bomb, if Protect is there also, then there's no way to really hit the Celesteela at all. So Celesteela, no matter how much special attack Naganadel gets, not going to be worried at all. And the Lopunny's not going to have the offense. High Jump Kick coming out. Let's see how much it does.
Oh, and High Jump Kick actually connecting on here. It gets that Celesteela to a little bit under half, and we will be getting the Devastating Drake once more from Nate's Naganadel. I think it's going to, if it's a special attack Dragon move, it's going to be a +4.
Is maybe with that High Jump Kick, it's enough to get rid of Celesteela. It would be huge if that can happen, because then there just probably isn't the offense from Venusaur to get rid of Naganadel. You do have to worry about that Choice Scarf Landorus, but that's something Lopunny can definitely help with.
Oh, this is to be an interesting choice to see which one he goes after. And goes into the Venusaur, and that's actually enough to pick up the knockout this time, whereas before it survived with barely a sliver of HP left on here. Does get another special attack boost because of that Beast boost.
So much special attack.
This is a scary kind of a bee-looking Pokemon right now. And Acrobatics from Celesteela manages to knock out that Lopunny.
But yeah, all the special attack in the world doesn't help you when Landorus just outspeeds an Earth Power. It's going to happen next turn.
God.
No, nothing left for Nate to prevent it. That Acrobatics comes in and just KOs Lopunny. It's just going to be a free time for Landorus. Even then, Naganadel, even if somehow it takes the Earth Power, it can't KO both these Pokemon. No spread moves. It's just going to be killing one or the other, and the other one then KOs it. And so Naganadel, so much special attack, can't do it all by itself, though.
Yeah, and so now facing down Landorus and Celesteela does have the Intimidate off, but it's been raising its special attack. But Landorus once again using that Earth Power into that slot, going to do super effective damage, and is enough to pick out that knockout, giving game 2 to Alex.
Yeah, Alex has got to be, rather Nate's got to be kicking himself over those multiple opportunities to just Aqua Jet that Landorus didn't take any of them, and then Landorus delivers the game-winning KO and brings this to game 3.
And I think what was super interesting is there was at one point, I think, when Alex realized what his mistake was in kind of switching out that Venusaur instead of like the Celesteela and getting Encore into it. And I think at that moment, kind of figuring out how Nate thinks and then predicting it on that next turn kind of really helped him pivot a little bit into making sure he got set up a little bit better. Yeah,
I really thought Alex was in a ton of trouble when that turn happened, but managed to work his way out of that, get Celesteela back off the field, and somehow come back in that game.
And, I think that adjustment, though, Nate kind of showing a different sort of mode on his Pokemon team, and now he has kind of these options, and Alex still has a little bit, close to his chest. This Charizard we still haven't seen. That Tapu Fini went down immediately as soon as it hit the field, so we didn't get to see a lot from it, even from that first game. And we still haven't seen Blacephalon on the other side. Still lots of options, lots of ways this game 3 cannot at all resemble either the game 1 or 2. If we do say Blacephalon, my mind will be blown. I had to say. But yeah, going into game 3, a lot to consider. Like that Naganadel really putting in a lot of work. I think that second Nasty Plot might have been a little too much. I think for I'm not. I don't know, because there wasn't that much better to do at that point. It just Naganadel didn't have the right coverage moves to deal with the Pokemon that were left. All right, and so now going to this game 3, Alex leading with that Tapu Fini and that Celesteela, and Nate leading with that Lopunny and Naganadel. Will be getting the Misty Seed boost from that Misty Terrain as well. Yeah, I mean, immediately this Celesteela is such a big threat here. Alex has got to be comfortable knowing that Naganadel can't touch it. Does have to worry about Tapu Fini taking a lot of damage from Naganadel. But in the meantime, we saw that Acrobatics revealed last game. That's a threat of just a one-hit KO against Lopunny. If it Mega Evolves, probably not a one-hit KO if Lopunny doesn't Mega Evolve. Maybe there's some little plays Nate can make there, looking for just fake out an Encore support with regular Lopunny to make sure it can take an attack from Celesteela when the time comes. Tapu Fini definitely vulnerable here, but if Celesteela can force Naganadel out, then, Tapu Fini doesn't mind being up against Lopunny for sure. Right, and Tapu Fini going to be switching out on this turn, going to be switched in for that Landorus, going to get Intimidate into both Pokemon on Nate's side of the field. Again, lowering their attack stages by 1. We did see that the Earth Power did a lot of damage to that Naganadel, as Lopunny is going to be Mega Evolving on this turn in front of the Celesteela, where we know it carries Acrobatics. Could be protecting or faking out that Celesteela on this turn as well. And so Nate choosing to do Mega Vomit on now. Does use Return instead. Goes into that Landorus spot, which was that Tapu Fini before. As Draco Meter finally being revealed as that Dragon type move. Goes into that Landorus spot.
This is going to be huge if this
my
KOs. And it does.
Cool.
I mean, this is a massive KO to get. That Intimidate is gone. That ability to outspeed and Earth Power that Naganadel so much risk by switching in Landorus. And Nate makes the great call. Just pick up that KO. Let's see if he can punish it, though, with what Celesteela does.
Yeah, and Celesteela goes for the Acrobatics to end this turn. Goes into low pony. Easy one-hit knockout. But that Naganadel is now going to be, like, I think at that -1 now special attack still, because it was a harsh fall from the Draco Meter. But Celesteela now at +1 attack. A little bit of a trade-off. Now both trainers are down to 3 Pokemon.
It's really interesting because the best thing that eliminating Landorus does is make your Naganadel have more staying power, but you still have to find a way to do the damage to Celesteela. Naganadel can't do it by itself, and doesn't really threaten that much damage against Venusaur either. It took it nasty plotting twice, and then using a Z move to finally get rid of Venusaur in the last game. So maybe keeping Naganadel around isn't enough. We saw how important that fake out and encore pressure has been so far in this game. You just lost Lopunny immediately on turn 1. I'm just not sure that trade ended up being worth it for Nate.
Yeah, and now that the Togekiss is on the field, though, it's facing against 2 Pokemon that can do a lot of damage onto it, even with that Follow Me. But Venusaur are going to be Mega Evolving on Alex's side, and, we've seen it do a lot of damage to the Pokemon on here. Togekiss does use Follow Me, redirects all the attacks to it against a Pokemon that hadn't have Sludge Bomb and a Pokemon with Heavy Slam. But Naganadel going to go for that Nasty Plot, going to get, now I think at +1 after that Draco Meter and everything else. And Venusaur going for the Sludge Bomb into that Togekiss slot. Going to do some super effective damage on there. Gets it down to half. Does get the poison on there. And will, I think, activate the barrier that
I don't think it'll matter. This Heavy Slam's just going to KO.
Yeah, and, that Follow Me does allow this Nasty Plot to happen, but he does lose that Togekiss on this turn.
Yeah, I mean, Nate is allowing so much offense to come out from what are very bulky Pokemon. I mean, this is a Venusaur, Mega Venusaur that's definitely focused on playing defense. Celesteela that, this may be a little more offensive variant, but still more of a defensive Pokemon, but allowing these KOs to come out. 2 KOs in 2 turns, but now
Cephalon's on the field.
If there's one thing that can start this turnaround, it is getting the mind blown.
Oh
that could pick up the KO against Celesteela, do so much damage to Venusaur also, and maybe clear the way for that +1 special attack Naganadel to do what it needs to do, because really Celesteela is the biggest problem right now.
All right, and Alex is going to try to protect his Venusaur by switching it out for that Tapu Fini. So, it's going to be facing down this kind of Sludge Bomb from the Naganadel, but it will be protecting this turn just in case that Blacephalon does go for its signature move. And it's actually using Heat Wave on this turn, connects with both Pokemon, going to do super effective damage to the Celesteela, but that Misty Seed is so nice on it, and no burn, but Heavy Slam from Celesteela goes into that protected Naganadel slot.
Yeah, that ends up being a pretty good turn for Nate. Manages to land the Heat Wave onto Celesteela, not protecting itself, and all Celesteela does is try to KO try to go for damage against that protecting Naganadel. Maybe could have gotten even more with a Mind Blown, but opting with only 2 Pokemon left to preserve the HP of that Blacephalon, just try to get more consistent damage out with Heat Wave. We'll see if that Heat Wave doesn't manage to KO Celesteela in 2 hits, though. May wish that had been a Mind Blown.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, and the Celesteela is also kind of scary because it's now at +2 for its attack thanks to those Beast Boosts. And, that special defense from that Misty Seed is still making it kind of really scary here. But Nate going to be going for that Devastating Drake into that Celesteela slot. I think at +1 it might be, and it might...
I would doubt it.
The Resistance, and then I think the Misty Seed might not actually be doing that much, but it's going to do more damage than I think than Draco Meter might have originally done, and, circumventing that Nasty Plot.
Certainly going to do more than Sludge Bomb would have. It's certainly the biggest damage output Naganadel has, but the coverage just isn't there. Celesteela hangs on. But Heat Wave can be coming out, yeah.
And it connects with both Pokemon here, so it will be picking up that knockout on the Celesteela, giving this Blacephalon kind of that Beast Boost on here. No chances for burns on that Tapu Fini because of the terrain as well. And Venusaur is going to have to be coming back here as Blacephalon gets a Beast Boost into its special attack as well. Tapu Fini connects Muddy Water onto both of these Pokemon. Going to be doing some good special super effective damage on the Blacephalon. Is in almost, but not quite enough to get that one-hit KO, but reveals that Focus Sash on there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so kind of different items on a lot of these Pokemon that would be, you can't really say standard too much with these Pokemon that are so uncommon, but a little bit different items. Blacephalon hangs on with 1 HP. You see the big difference not having to use Mind Blown makes, as now it's going to continue to be threatening big damage here. Devastating Drake has been burnt. +1 special attack Draco Meteor is not going to do too much to Venusaur, but Sludge Bomb is going to do everything it needs to Tapu Fini. then maybe Naganadel probably, yeah, I mean, I would guess it probably beats Venusaur. The Sludge Bomb's going to, or rather the Leech Seed's going to come out, start kind of trading health back and forth. It's going to be a very close in-game, I think. If Tapu Fini can, dodge an extra turn of Sludge Bombs, but it's not going down.
Ooh, and Sludge Bomb connects with that Tapu Fini. It's enough to knock it out, leaving this Venusaur to kind of take care of both of these Pokemon here. We do know that Heat Wave from Lissafon is a thing, and I think now it's a +2 Naganadel, so making it a little bit scary as Shadow Ball from Lissafon goes into that Venusaur slot. It is enough to get it to almost half as Venusaur uses Sludge Bomb, does get it into the Naganadel slot. Not enough to really do anything, just gets it to a little bit half as Misty Terrain does disappear.
Yeah, now, I mean, now that's the game. Naganadel at +2 special attack, getting that Sludge Bomb off, plus another Shadow Ball from Blacephalon is just going to easily KO this Venusaur before it's able to move. Just too much offense too quickly right here at the end of the game, and, it looked like Alex was making so much progress with those big, bulky Pokemon, but once the big offense came out, it was too much.
Yeah, and so the Sludge Bomb itself is enough to knock out this Venusaur, giving Game 3 to Nate, and that was actually, I'm glad we got to see all of those Pokemon from Nate's side of the field.
Yeah, we ended up seeing all 6 in different combinations.
That was kind of interesting. I appreciate the adjustments that he made so we could actually see all of those Pokemon, especially because they're not Pokemon that you see a lot, ever.
Yeah.
So, but Alex, I think, also did a good job adjusting on there, especially leaving home the double fairies against the Naganadel.
Yeah, didn't bring Tapu Koko again after Game 1. Decided it just wasn't what he needed. Would have been really useful against that Blacephalon, though. As things change, different Pokemon come up and down in value. I'm sure he would have liked to have Tapu Koko maybe over that Tapu Fini at the end.
Yeah, especially with that Gigavolt Havoc that we had seen in Game 2. But, I mean, for pushing it to a Game 3, there's not much you can say against that. And so, good job to both players. And we will be heading into the last round of Swiss real soon. Oh, I cannot believe it. It's been 7 rounds already. So, we will see you guys for round 7. Whew.